Here's my two templates. The brown one is the main body, and the other one is the outside shield. All you have to do to begin with is measure the length of the arrows and determine the diameter of the tube you want to create. I start by transferring both templates to their appropriate pieces of leather. The main body is going to be an 8 ounce, the outside shield about a 4 ounce. With the pieces cut out, I work on the main body first. Here I'm marking the holes for the lacing that actually is going to hold the body of the quiver together. I'm just marking the perfect distance between each hole. And here you can get a better look at how that's laid out. This is the main core body of the quiver. I've got all my lacing holes run up both sides, perfectly matched. I've cut in a border, and I've also beveled along the inside of that border line. This is my idea of how the two pieces are going to come together. I'll have the outside shield here on top of the main body. I just got to get all my spacing correct, get all my measurements perfect. That way I can mark it, get it set into place, and then we're going to be able to mark the holes that join these two pieces together. Before going any further on the shield, I decided to put a background texture there with my very favorite texturing tool. It's like a pebble design, gives it an almost lizard or dragon alligator-like skin. I really like it, but I still got a lot to do, and since that stamp is small, it's really taken forever. But we'll get through it. After those first simple details were done with the main body, it was already time to get it under dye. I'm using an oxblood dye here with a mahogany fade on the outside edge, and then an actual darker brown in that border. I've also gone ahead and taken care of the shield part. Here I also used a mahogany for the inside portion of the shield, faded out to a dark brown, and then dark brown along that border line. As you can see also, all the holes are punched because I've lined everything up the way it's going to attach together. I'm not quite at the test fit stage here, I'm just at the test design phase. I've got all the rivets where I think I want them to go. I might have to add more, I might have to take some away. I'm using domed rivets on the shield and then spiked rivets on the top of the main body of the quiver. I also found that little Celtic knot concho thing there. I think I'll mount that in the center, but that's essentially how it's going to go together. But there's a long way before this thing's done. I should stop and mention at this point that a lot of the detail work with this has to be completed, including the finishing of the leather before the two pieces are joined. So as you can see here, hopefully, I've actually gone ahead and added an antiquing to that outside shield and an antiquing to the main body. And you can see the difference there in the belly of the main body where I didn't hit the antiquing quite as much because it's going to be covered up anyhow. But again, all this finishing is going to have to be done prior to joining the two pieces. So again, I've got the antiquing on here. I will hit it with some neat's foot oil, and I'm also going to hit it with some leather balm before I actually join these two pieces together. Also keeping in mind that before things are joined together, all stitching holes need to be marked. I'm going to be stitching a circle onto the bottom of the quiver. Here you can see hopefully how the shield is bowed in the middle because I've actually folded the quiver over, marked all the holes so that they meet and don't misalign due to the leather laying on top of each other. Here we're back at my wet mold molding board. You might have seen this in another video. I've got a small piece of leather, this small circle. I'm going to wet mold this right into this spot here and create that bottom circle attachment for the quiver. The leather's good and wet. I got it locked in place here with a clamp, and I'll let this sit overnight so that it takes the perfect shape. The wood that I used when I was clamping that together actually left a really neat design on the leather itself there. So that actually looks like a little wooden plug at the bottom, but it's not, it's just leather. And I put an eyelet in just for drainage, just in case. Here our quiver is coming along fairly nicely. I've attached my retention straps. I found these rings on a purse at the thrift store, so I just cut them off. Always look to upcycle or recycle things. Got the matching ring down here at the bottom with the other retention strap, and I think those are going to work out perfectly. Speaking of the straps for this thing, my only issue I ran into was that the clasps that I had on hand were just a little smaller than this leather strip that I had already previously cut. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little makeshift taper here at the end so that the end of this leather will now be able to fit through the clasps that I have on hand. I don't have to go out and buy any more. Just go ahead and round off this end here. And find the right punch. There we go. That's all rounded off. And now the tedious process of beveling all these edges, and then I'll burnish all the edges on the straps as well. The straps are essentially done. Time for dye. Today we're using what has clearly become my favorite dye, mahogany. Once I test fit the quiver on my body, I realized that I didn't like the way that clasp sat on my shoulder, because I've got a bad shoulder at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and add this pad to make it a little bit more comfortable. So here's our finished strap. As you can see, I've got the clasp down here at the bottom. It's like a spring clasp. Dome rivet goes into the buckle. Actually, there's a keeper there. That's about a 4-inch keeper. I've got my buckle here. Again, I recovered that off an old belt from the thrift store. Here's that shoulder pad I was telling you about. Dome rivet that together. I've got the top spring clasp up there. Everything slides together nicely. 1-inch marks for adjustment. And there we go. And again, I used a longer, that 4-inch long keeper there. It gives you a lot of play if you want to keep the belt in place. As with so many of my leather projects, I kind of just designed them on the fly. And as I was putting this thing together, I found this piece of rabbit fur and thought it might just make the perfect addition to this project. The rabbit fur is all prepped up. Let's glue it into place, and I'll finally show you how this thing turned out. At the end of the day, an archery quiver is nothing more than a tube that holds arrows. The amount of detail you want to put into that project is up to you. For my quiver, I worked on it on and off for about a week, and I'm thoroughly satisfied with the results. Now I think I'll sit back and be quiet for a couple minutes, let you look at this, and form your own opinion. When I'm working on a leatherworking project, I like to try to find a design that rides that fine line between fantasy and reality, while still keeping the item practical. I think this quiver design hits that criteria perfectly. If I still hunted, I'd feel just as comfortable taking this in the field as I would to the fair. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go forth and build your own quiver. But before you go, if this video gave you any ideas, please consider giving me that thumbs up like. Follow us on Instagram to see what projects don't make it to video. And maybe, just maybe, I'll see you on the next video. If you enjoy videos about the randomness of our amazing world, consider clicking on the globe to subscribe, or maybe checking out one of the other videos right here.